What's up, everybody? It is Adam at Proper Royals. It's 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night on the East Coast. And tonight we have Kara from K&C Geckos. Now, believe it or not, I'm going to tell you, there is a special tie that I have to Kara that is ball python related, but she focuses on other amphibians and reptiles. So we're going to go a little bit out of the ball python realm this evening. But we'll, of course, not go too far. And like I say, Kara and I have a very special tie that's related to ball python. So I'm going to hit the music. We're going to start the show and stick around. We got a good one tonight for you. Thank you for being here. Kara, how are you? Thanks for being here tonight.
Pretty good. I'm good.
Good. I'll give everybody the disclaimer on your behalf. Kara's fighting through some winter illness, and I'm really thankful that you're still here and that you made it tonight. So we'll forgive you if your voice is a little hoarse and scratchy, huh?
Yeah, sorry. I sound totally, but I can talk now, so that's good.
Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear and doing well. Hang on just a second, guys. Charlie, have a good night, okay? You time it now. You figured it out, haven't you? Mm-hmm. All right, dude. I love you. Have a good night, okay?
You too.
All right, sweet dreams, son.
Hello.
He can't resist himself. Yeah, no, you're sounding good, and it's coming through clear and all that. So we got Phil in tonight. Phil, I see your breeding season is full on. Finger Snakes BP on Instagram. Leviathan Snakes, Stephen, Courtney. I hope you all are well. Stephen and Courtney, whoever's there, I know it's got to be getting close for a bit of a special delivery. I hope all is well that way. And many blessings to you and your family. I know your new facility is coming along as well. Mark, it's good to see you out in San Diego. I hope your two little females that you got from me are doing well. I've seen some pictures. I appreciate it. Tradesman from here in Jacksonville. Patrick, always good to see you. Man, you're everywhere. I see you comment on a ton of people's videos in the community. So really good to have you all tonight. Kara, tell us about K&C Geckos. Clearly a gecko operation, but I think so much more too. Tell us what you got going on.
Okay, so mostly geckos. My main focus is leopard geckos, high-end leopard geckos. Work with low-end genes. I have a lot of really expensive morphs that I've worked for years to build up. But yeah, mostly leopard geckos. I do some crested geckos as well. Nothing too crazy, just for fun. This year was my first year with Rankin's dragons. And if you don't know what Rankin's dragons are, they're like a smaller cousin of bearded dragons. They stay pretty small, about 9 to 12 inches max. Mine are right around 9 and 10 inches. And then recently, my husband and I have also added praying mantises to our I don't know what word to use, but we're starting to breed praying mantis now, and we paired one pair of Indian flower mantises so far, and we also have a spiny flower pair and lots of orchid mantises, so hopefully that's successful. And I also do White's tree frogs, which is what you see behind me. I have a frogs over there.
So I count, you got 5 species that you're breeding.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so a lot is my point. How do you, I mean, on your facility, are you keeping kind of a consistent temperature? Do you have different areas for each one, or a mix and match, or how does that work with all the different species that you're working with?
So the Rankins are kept in a separate room since they require a much higher temperature than all the other animals. You know, the hot spot for them runs anywhere from 100 to 110 degrees. Okay. And the cool end being low end 80. So that room runs pretty hot, which is actually that way. The door behind me. That's where they are. But leopard geckos, the mantises, and the frogs are all kept in the same room. because ambient temperatures for them is generally about the same. It runs pretty warm in this room. It's about 77 in here, where the rest of the house is like 72. So it's pretty warm in here, but it stays consistent. And of course, the leopard geckos have separate heating elements underneath so that they have the belly heat so they can digest their food. But other than that, yeah, it's about the same.
And we've chatted some, although not in person in a long time, maybe since I met you, honestly, but we've chatted online a fair amount, both on this show and other places. But give us a feel for the scope of your leopard gecko operation, because my feeling is pretty massive, I think. I mean, relative to what I'm used to anyhow. Give us the scope of that and kind of the background on that.
I'm definitely smaller than most people, like some of the big people out there, but I mean, I think I have a lot more than some people know. This year I had like, I don't know, like 30 something breeding adults, but none of them took. And I kept around 20 babies this year. Maybe I haven't counted. I don't like counting. It makes me feel bad for how many I keep, but
Oh, geez.
I don't know. There's probably like 150 geckos in this room right now. It'll obviously dwindle down when they've all gone to new homes. I can't ship right now because holiday shipping and it's cold. So everything's on hold until next year. So I'm hanging on to a bunch of babies for now. But yeah, there's a lot in here. But I would say like, I don't know, 60 of them or so are mine.
Okay.
Like permanent residents.
And those you can cohabitate leopard geckos, right? Or not? Am I wrong about that?
No. I mean, some people do. Some people cohabitate females. And it can work. I'm not willing to risk it because, you know, if one of them gets upset about something, they can absolutely like really hurt another gecko. The only times they are ever together is for breeding, and I'm there the entire time. When I see it happen and they finish doing their thing, I pull the male out and separate. I mean, babies can be kept together for a short period of time, a couple weeks until it's eating, and then you need to separate them because, they can definitely attack each other.
So it is individual tubs for all of your for all the individual leopard geckos that you have then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was assuming wrong. That's okay. And all right, so you got 150 geckos, and then your Rankins dragons. What got you into those, and do you see a market for them? Do they move well? You have a lot.
I don't remember what got me into them. I think I saw them online and was like, those are super cool. You know, they're like a miniature bearded dragon. I like beardeds, but beardeds, in my opinion, come with a lot of issues. They're so overbred nowadays and not as strong as they should be. So I found someone in the States who had some Rankins available, and I bought two. And they were supposed to both be girls, and one ended up being a male. So I had to send the male back to the breeder because I did not want siblings breeding. So I looked for a male, and I found one in Canada. So I had it imported from Canada to the US, which cost a lot of money, but it was worth it. And keep my pair together, and that does not always work. And I would not say most people should try that. You should really be careful about keep Rankins together unless you really know your animals and you're watching for the signs of dominance and aggression. Mine get along perfectly well. They leave each other alone. Like there's no aggression at all, but it could go wrong. But yeah, Rankins can be cohabitated. Females definitely can usually live together, or a male with several females, or a pair like I have. And they had, I think they had 19 babies this year. Tall number. It was her first year breeding. And I still have, I think, 8 of them here, but I'm keeping 3 of the best ones, and then the other ones are currently listed on Morph Market. So if you've ever wanted a Rankins, I've got like 5 left, and then they're gone.
Nice. Now, you said a moment ago a lot of bearded dragons aren't as, you find them not as strong as they should be. What do you mean by that? Genetically or physically or both? Or what does that mean?
So I've had several bearded dragons over the years, and it just seems like they are so prone to so many issues that you can't even prevent. You give your bearded dragon the best care, and then something like egg bounding happens, or something internal that you don't even know what it is. It just, I mean, I don't know. They just seem so prone to that, and it's rare to see nice colored bearded dragons reaching a nice age, I guess, if that would make sense. And there's a lot of breeders out there who are not careful about which genes cross, because some bearded dragons, with some genes, you cannot cross translucent with translucent, or what is it called? Leatherback with leatherback. You're going to get silkies, and I am very silkies. They are very unhealthy, and I'm just against them. So
I see.
I don't know. I just feel like they're just so weak nowadays because people are not, adding new blood to their stock and keeping up with their health and testing for parasites and adenovirus and crypto and that stuff is in there. And I don't think people are doing what they should be with beardeds because they're just so popular.
Yeah, I mean, you see it. You do see them everywhere. I mean, then even more so than ball pythons, I think. Although I have some concerns about ball pythons the way that you're talking about as well. You seem certainly knowledgeable and confident in your belief. What's your take on ball pythons on that? In light of those same concerns.
So obviously there's some, I don't know too much about morphs with ball pythons. I know a few. I know there's just hundreds out there, and I'm learning with you watching your video. But like what's it called? What's the one with the neurological condition?
There's spiders, and there's some fatal combinations as well, or likely fatal, or likely kinks as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so stuff like that I've seen other people talk about, and I've just seen how, some of those spiders, they just can't strike at their own food, or they can't seem to get around their enclosure without wobbling, and it doesn't look like a comfortable life to me. And I know they're beautiful. I think they're beautiful, but I just don't see the point of breeding an animal that's not healthy.
Yeah, to me, there's enough alternatives that are exciting that I've never felt attracted to breeding spiders. And I try and steer clear of whether somebody should or they shouldn't. I mean, ultimately, it's not my choice. I'd rather they didn't, honestly, is my honest opinion. But on the other hand, there are plenty of viable spiders out there. But when you start, like, I actually have a stronger opinion about breeding like a cinnamon to a cinnamon or black pastel to black pastel, because some tiny amount of those, they're so prone to physical biological defects that it just is a dangerous path. And it's not like, to your point, that there's not hundreds of other morphs out there. And again, I'm not picking any fights. I don't want to tell anybody what they should and shouldn't do. Right. But for me, both from what I'm interested in, what I want to represent the hobby as, and frankly, from a financial standpoint, the other genes speak more to me. So, to Primal Scale's point, he says, everybody knows about the bad rap with the spiders. It's true. It comes up. People are interested in it. So, we talk about it. Primal Warfels Morphs, I appreciate y'all being here. Guys, check out everybody's YouTube channels. Warfels is getting going pretty well. A few hundred subscribers on there. And Primal Scales, I see on Instagram and on the channel here a whole lot as well. Warfels, actually, I like, guys, check out Warfels Morphs if you get a chance. I like his videos a lot, and I want to have you on the show one of these days, Jeremy. I think that there's enough variation in Spider. Part of my problem with Spider is that it's inconsistent. There's clearly problems with some of them, clearly not with others. And I don't think we've isolated what it is. I know there's a ton of theories out there. Again, I think there's hope for it. It's just not for me at the moment. That's all.
Yeah, so, I feel the same. I think some people should, people who are really into the ball python game and know what they're doing and know what to look for should be ones working with it, trying to figure it out. I don't think it should just be everyone,
yeah, and I can clarify too. Our audience tonight is probably far more into the ball python game than the average consumer at a reptile shop. I think it's a different thing if a knowledgeable breeder, somebody like yourself with a bearded dragon or with Rankins or with leopard geckos were to take on a challenging gene. That's different than the 12-year-old kid with the mom strolling through the store who goes, man, that's a pretty snake, and gets sold a Spider. That's probably where I have more of the issue on it with it. So
yeah, I agree completely.
But anyhow, on we didn't want to make it a show about Spider ball pythons this year. So tell us about how the gene. I know that the genes work a little bit different with leopard geckos. Am I right in understanding it's a little bit less predictable than ball pythons? I mean, you know what genes are going in, but is there a little bit more? I'll let you take over because I actually don't know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to convey what I've understood from other people.
I guess it's a little more unpredictable. So just like with ball pythons, leopard geckos have recessive genes and codominant genes and dominant genes. So it's all the same. We also have line-bred traits, which is called polymorphic traits. And a good example of that would be a tangerine leopard gecko, an orange one, a bright orange gecko. That's not a gene, or it's not a morph, or not. Words are hard. It's not a gene. It's not like a recessive or dominant gene. It's a bred trait. So you breed the orangest animal to the orangest animal and hope you get even better baby. And it's line breeding. You just keep going and going, adding new stock. I do get the best looking animal, what you were for. Same thing with like striped leopard geckos. That's not a recessive gene. That's just line breeding for pattern. So really there's only a few recessive gene leopard geckos. There's 3 different types of albino. There's, I think, 3 or 4 different types of snow. The main one everyone knows is Max Snow. And then we've got a handful of eye genes that change the look of their eyes, and that can also influence pattern a little bit. But other than that, it's completely polymorphic and just line breeding for what you want.
So, and is snow, so in snow in ball pythons is what, albino and so albinism and axanthism, is that? So that's a double recessive for ball pythons. Is that the same with leopard geckos?
No, it's not. Snow is a totally different thing with leopard geckos. I guess somebody just named it, Max Snow, or there's a Tug Snow that's by the Urban Gecko. They created their own snow line. There's a couple other ones, but the main one everyone knows and has is Max Snow. It's a dominant gene. So if you have a snow gecko and you pair it to a non-snow, 50% of their babies are going to be snow, and you can't be het for it. You either have it or you don't.
Right. And so you would use the known strategy of the dominants, the recessives, and the codoms, and then you're picking your best phenotype examples that you see of color traits or pattern traits, hoping to recreate those or accentuate those.
Yeah, right. So I work a lot with bold stripes. Stripes are like probably my favorite other than tangerines. So picking the ones with the best, nice, clean, solid stripes. And I like to look for stripes going all the way down the tail, cool head patterns, and pairing them up and getting even better babies. If you pick that don't have the clean stripes, you're probably going to lose the stripes with their babies. Or, with the tangerines, I have a lot of tangerines, just picking the orangest animals. It's pretty simple, just picking what you like and going for it.
Yeah. So I think they're beautiful animals. And I don't know if you know or not, I had 3 or 4 in college. And part of why I was a little surprised is that you shouldn't cohabitate them is I definitely did. I didn't know anything about it. That was 20 years ago. I didn't know anything about it. And I think they were okay. I didn't breed them or anything, but I always thought they were beautiful animals. And the time came for me to move away from college, and I sold them, I think, back to the pet store, if I recall. But what's a basic setup? Like say I wanted 1 leopard gecko for like my mascot in my snake room or whatever. What kind of setup do they need? What's their, and I know we could go super deep in a rabbit hole, but in general, what does one need to get one going just for a pet?
So if you're wanting to go like full leopard gecko enclosure, display and everything, I would say do a minimum of a 20-gallon long.
Okay.
You can definitely do bigger, and they're going to use the space. They're pretty inquisitive of their environment. They like to climb. Some people don't know that. They're terrestrial animals, but they do like to climb. So providing them with things to climb on. But basically, really all you need is a heat pad to give them belly heat. They need belly heat to digest their food. You can use a heat lamp if they are not an albino. Albinos are super sensitive to light, so if you have a heat lamp on them, they're not going to come out and they're not going to get that heat that they need because it's going to hurt their eyes.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
really, I'm fully in favor of heat pads or ceramic heat emitters are also good because they don't produce light; they just produce heat.
Yeah, and
Kind of
that's
like
what
a heat bulb.
that's the ideal thing with ball python. If you use a lamp, that's the ideal thing with ball pythons is CHEs.
Right. Yep. So yeah, they need a hot end and they need a cool end, and they also need a moist hide for and for I guess occasionally drinking water. But other than that, decorations are really up to you.
What temperatures on your hot end and your cool end?
Oh, right. Yeah. So I personally do a minimum of like 88 on the hot end, but I would say like anywhere from 90 to 92 for the heat is good for them. Mine are on thermostats, so they do fluctuate a little bit, but generally they stay right around 91.
Yep. And then the ambient air temperature?
Yeah, just whatever room temperature is good. Put the what's it called? The heat mat on one side, and the other side's your cool end, so they can walk back and forth.
Yeah.
If they need to change their body temperature, they're probably going to stay on the warm end a majority of the time, but they'll go to the cool end when they need to cool off.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll get an inkling to get one day when I finish off my finishing touches on my reptile room. Maybe I need one in there just to have a killer leopard gecko.
Yeah, they're cool. I like them.
Clearly, and you have. I'm not kidding, everybody. You got to check out Kara's. Just the ones that you have for sale are incredible, and of course your Instagram is fantastic as well. Not to mention, actually, your Instagram is really cool because you always have different species on there, and the mantises are very cool. And those aren't just like, I don't know anything about mantises, but they don't look like any that I've ever seen. Like I think you either had it posing on an orchid or you called it an orchid mantis one time. Just this beautiful. Mm-hmm. It looked like an orchid in bloom, and it was a mantis posing is what it was.
Yeah. They actually they're called orchid mantises, but they're actually not mimicking an orchid. They're mimicking some flower from, I think, India. I don't know the name of the flower, but I guess whoever discovered them thought they looked like orchids and called them orchid mantises. So,
Yeah, I did. It
of
worked
course, I
for me.
posed one with an orchid. I thought it looked cool when they're posed with an, but yeah, they're not actually mimicking orchids.
Yeah. No, they're very cool. And what got you into the mantises? And I'm always excited about business. So do you see a market on it? How's that going? Is it still at hobby stage? Are you moving those at all?
So really it's my husband's project, but obviously I help since this is kind of my thing. It's funny, the story that got us into mantises. He was on a vacation in New York to visit family, and I was home because I have all this. I can't leave most of the time.
Right.
So whenever I would leave to go to work, I would see this little mantis sitting in a tree right next to my car. And I would say hi to him every day. And I gave him a name and everything. I thought he was cute. And I would
Yeah.
send Connor pictures. Connor's my husband. He's
Okay.
the C in K&C.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
I sent him pictures. And when he got home, I showed him the mantis. And we just started talking about mantises. And he mentioned orchids. And somehow we ended up with a bunch of orchid mantises. And he wants to breed them and raise them. So really, it's his project, but I help. And
Yeah.
recently, we did get a couple pairs of spiny flower mantises and Indian flower mantises. Really, they're for practice because we don't want to mess up the orchid mantises, and breeding mantises is tricky because, you know, as everyone knows, the female can decapitate the male. That does happen. So we wanted to get some cheaper species to practice with so that we don't mess it up with the orchids because they're not cheap. They
Yeah.
run like anywhere from $50 to $70 a piece, depending on when and where you get them.
Wow.
And
Okay.
but we're still in the very beginning stages. We have bred the flower or the Indian flower mantises, and that was about 6 days ago. So she hasn't laid an Uthaka yet. But we're expecting her to start laying them pretty soon, maybe in a week, and then
Wow.
should have baby mantises around February, if I'm pacing that correctly. But as far as the orchids go, I don't think we're going to have a pair of those ready until either late this month or late December or January. But we're working on it. We're getting there. It just takes a while to raise them up, and it's really fun though. They're really cool.
That is cool. That's cool. I don't know anybody else doing that. Clearly somebody is, or you wouldn't have stock to buy from, but that is cool.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see that. I'll be following that on your Instagram. So I was going to, if you're all right with it, and I was going to tell everybody about how we met and then the fun outcome in many ways from that. So I met, excuse me, let me take a drink of water here. I met Kara she was selling at least two, because I bought two ball pythons, and they were breeding size females. And actually, Kara, that was like right at a year ago. That was like early mid-November last year. And it's funny. It's not funny. It's odd to me, because this year has just been a time of incredible change in my life. I was living in North Carolina then. I met you in Columbia, South Carolina. I drove down, but now I live in Florida. My life has changed drastically. This is not only where I do a ball python show from, but this is my office that I work from now. Anyhow, none of that has to do with ball pythons, but it's just been an incredible amount of time, and it feels like it's been way longer than a year, but it really was only right at a year ago. And so I bought two ball pythons from you, two females, and they were big. Like I was at a stage in my time with ball pythons. Those were the largest females that I had, and I started breeding and pairing them almost right away. I think the first pairing I did was either the very end of December or the very beginning of January. And as it would turn out in my first breeding season, those two females were the only two that produced any eggs. So all the hatchlings that you all have seen, anything that I do any video of, came directly from this line right here to back to Kara. So it was the females that I bought from you that have actually to this day still been the only ones to ever produce for me. Now I've only bred one season, so knock on wood, that's not the case going forward, but they're great females. Obviously the Banana, I kept the name Letty that you had given her. I don't know if it was short for Scarlet or not, but that's what I made it short for. And so she is, I remember when I bought her from you, you said, this is the sweetest snake ever. She goes, you have nothing to worry about ever of the snake biting you or aggression from you. And it's absolutely true. And actually the other one as well, which I call Persephone now, they've both been great, but they both bred this year. And so Kara's always been a special memory for me because you're the one that got female ball pythons that would produce for me to me. Plus you're a good person and I've always enjoyed chatting with you and keeping up. That's kind of the back history of me and Kara and ball pythons on there. So thank you for that. If you ever do want to get back into ball pythons, let me know. I owe you one from from what your girls have done for me. So it's very good. On social media, what platforms are you on? I know you're on Instagram and Facebook. What other platforms are you on?
Yeah, mostly just Instagram and Facebook. I do have a TikTok. It's just random. I mean, I guess I occasionally post a reptile video here or there, but it's not really associated with my business. So
I got you. Okay.
Nor is it the same username. So mostly Instagram and Facebook. I used to have a website, but honestly, I didn't see a use for it anymore. So I kind of ditched it.
Yeah. And you said earlier you're on Morph Market, so you have an active store on Morph Market.
Yes, I forgot about that. I guess that's social media too.
Yeah, well, it is. I get it. It's they have angles that to it that are incorporated in that for sure. So I have to give you some a good-natured hard time, and it's pure jealousy. It's nothing but jealousy. So you have a YouTube channel as well, with 5 videos and 1,200 subscribers. What am I doing wrong?
So don't I don't know what words I'm trying to say here, but my YouTube that I have is like years old. Like seriously, it is years old. I started when I was in 6th grade, I think it was 6th grade. And I've kept the same YouTube. I've deleted all the videos and just changed the name several times. And also my husband is big on YouTube. He's got, I think he has 49,000 subscribers. He's not actively posting on YouTube, but he did for years, and he gave my channel a couple shout outs, and I think a bunch of his subscribers came over from his channel and subscribed to me, but I rarely post on YouTube. I want to get back into it. I'm just so busy with teaching and animals. I just don't have time.
Right. No, it does take, like, some people have asked me about YouTube and I'm like, I love it, but yeah, it takes a lot of time and it doesn't stop. Like every day that you don't post, you're getting closer to the next date that you're planning to post, or you're missing deadlines. It's hard. It's hard to keep up on it. Did you say your husband has 49,000?
Yeah, he does.
And is it a reptile channel? Is it a gecko channel, or is it completely different?
No, he's an artist. So for those who don't know, I'm an art teacher. My husband's also an artist, not professionally. He doesn't do it for a job, but he is an artist. That's how we connected in the 7th grade. And he his YouTube channel was mostly video game related, but he created art that was like characters from video games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he makes a lot of comics and stuff like that. But he's not currently posting on there. But I think maybe one day he wants to come back. I'm just not sure.
49. Okay, I'm jealous. I like it. All right, so and then, but where you are active and where you do focus on Instagram, you have almost 4,000 followers as well, though. And that you're obviously you're pretty active on that, because I was talking about what I've, and that wasn't me just going and like stalking it today. Like I remember these posts.
Yeah, no, I've had my Instagram for a really long time. It's the same Instagram name's been changed like once or twice. I did axolotls before reptiles, and I think most of my followers, maybe like 2,000 of those followers, were from that, and they've stuck around. But yeah, I mean, my Instagram's kind of lost its I don't know, activity. So I only recently started trying to fix that. I was really only posting on it for me. So recently I got myself a whole setup to make the pictures look nice and eye-catching, which is actually the plants you see behind me. That's what I use for the backgrounds when I hold my animals in front of the plants. And I think consistency is really what's important about having a successful Instagram, and my likes and follows have shot since doing that. I mean, it hasn't been anything crazy, but I'm seeing improvement. So I'm just trying to get my Instagram back on board so that people know who I am in the Leopard Gecko community and see my stuff.
And when you say consistency, do you mean consistently posting, or content is consistent in the type of content, or all of the above? What's your insight on that?
Yeah, all of the above. Posting every single day. You can post multiple times a day. You just don't want to be annoying about it. So generally I post once a day. Yeah. And having consistency with the look of your posts, because if you scroll down like 20 pictures, you can see that account was really random before I started the whole new plant, nature-ish background, and it doesn't work. Every once in a while, one picture would get a bunch of likes and comments, but really it's consistency, and then people start to recognize your posts and they know you for how your posts look. And also, obviously, hashtags apparently do something. I started adding a bunch of them and I've gotten more views. I don't really understand hashtags. I don't ever look at hashtags, but I guess other people do, so it works.
Yeah, I can't claim to be an expert on it, but I think where the most effective way is groups of people that follow a certain hashtag, and if your video or if your post gets tied to that hashtag, or the algorithm says, hey, that's close enough to that hashtag, these people are going to be interested in it, kind of deal, then it drives your content to those people. Steven at Leviathan Snakes, I think he has a specific video about hashtags, but if not, he certainly has basically a marketing series that's focused on reptiles. But he knows the stuff. Next time I have him on the show, we can dive in on that. I'll let you know when we do that. Let me take just a second here and just say hey to some people in the audience. Hey guys, check each other's YouTube pages out. I think almost everybody that's commenting here has their own channel. Mark has a video coming up tomorrow, 2 new additions. Mark, you are quickly amassing a killer collection. You already have a killer collection. So if you got 2 new additions, I'm excited to see that. Phil, if I don't have it right, correct me. I believe it's Finger Snakes BP on Instagram. For lack of a better way of putting it, Phil's not messing around with what he does with ball pythons. Killer. Same. Courtney and Steven are down in South Carolina. They are finishing a whole new building for all of their snakes, 10 by 20, if I recall, maybe bigger, 12 by 20. I saw you getting that roof up there the other day on your sheetrock, Steven. Careful, man. You're about to be a dad. Don't be slinging sheetrock vertically by yourself, man. Of course, Kai from Lucas Land and Royals. knows his stuff. Kai, I liked your latest video where you had to go back and figure out what the heck was going on. That was a complicated mess. It's a good video. It's worth checking out, everybody. Funny thing, I'm about to pick, speaking of additions, Kai, I'm about to pick up a male pied head albino from a local guy. And his sales pitch was that it's one that he bought from you. So I'll have to show you pictures of it. I'll send you pictures. I don't expect you to remember the specific snake by any means, but male pied, 100% head albino, 1,400 grams. So he's a few years old, of course, but that'll be really cool to get him into my breeding project this year and bypass messing with some hets on my pied. So I thought I got a kick out of seeing your name out there that it came from you. So I just want to say thanks to everybody for joining. I hope you'll all take a look at each other's channels. And I don't know if Jeremy from Warfels, yeah, he is. Jeremy from Warfels Morphs is still out there. He's got a cool channel that he's really getting going on. And it's been cool to watch that. And anyhow, I've enjoyed it. Seems like a really good dude. I look forward to meeting him and having him on one day as well. So, Kara, from a business standpoint, where do you sell? How do you sell? What do you find works best for you? I mean, we talked about the social media platforms versus Morph Market. Which do you do better on? You find value in both, obviously.
So, I've kind of tried it all. Morph Market, where I post everything, and I've also found that on Morph Market, if you have a membership, I don't know why, but if you pay for a membership, I guess it looks better to potential customers if you're, supporting Morph Market, because, the money goes to them so that they can keep the site, going for all of us. And it also, if you buy a membership, you are able to list more animals. You're able to post more pictures, stuff like that. That seems to help get more sales too and get more people seeing you. And I also like how they can leave reviews. I've really been working on the review part of Morph Market for years. And I think I finally have it to a really good point now so that people can literally just look at my reviews and see that I am legit. I'm not going to send you a sick animal and I'm going to take care of you. But
yeah, it's
can get a little bit of views.
What's that?
I was gonna say Facebook can get some views. I don't think as many people use Facebook anymore.
Right.
I do share my stuff on like Facebook groups every now and then. Also tried reptile expos before. I used to vend at them all the time when I bred axolotls, and they did pretty well for axolotls, but then I moved on to geckos, and they do not do well for leopard geckos, at least not when you're breeding more higher end animals, because most people who go to reptile shows are there to get a cheaper animal, a cheaper pet, which I totally understand. And they're not wanting to drop several $100 on a leopard gecko when they could go to a table over and it's $30. So more focus where I found to get, the customers I'm actually wanting to get, who understand what I have and are probably going to take really good care of my animals. I talk to all of them and make sure they're going to be at homes. So
on, that's something that I've seen in different ends on the reptile shows, and it never really quite occurred to me. So there's a guy, George MD, that he's an amazing breeder of ball pythons, but I got to know him pretty well. And so at the Daytona show, which is like the reptile show, so I mean that's not as much people that are just looking for a pet. That's not the 12-year-old kid just checking out something cool and mom on an impulse buy. Like I think Steven said it, there was people with bags of money. I mean, it's unreal how much actual cash is there. And so, at that show, George had $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 ball pythons. And I saw him in Jacksonville and I was like, man, I can't wait to see what he brings. And I was like, these are nice, but where's the good stuff? And he's like, oh, this isn't a high rent show, man. I'm not bringing that stuff to this show. So I never thought of it that way, that it was just, like you say, probably different audiences at different shows for different animals. And I keep bringing them up, as Stephen and Courtney bring up the same thing, that, you know, the shows you're getting your pet customers versus your breeder or your really high end aficionados kind of thing.
Yep. And I don't breed a lot of, like, I guess, pet quality, as people call it, you know, like the cheaper animals that you don't really care about what it looks like. I don't have too many of those. I'm really just focused on color and genes. It's a hobby for me. I mean, I think it's fun, but I do work with more expensive stuff. So reptile shows don't work for me, but I will say ultimate goal would be to get to vend at Tenley Park shows one day. That's far in the future, because that's a lot of money to get up there in hotels and stuff like that. But
well, especially from South Carolina,
I'm pretty far away.
Yeah. My goal is I actually met Jeremy briefly. He's watching tonight as well at the Daytona show, but I want to vend that, and maybe I would partner with somebody or go in on a table with somebody kind of thing. But that's a lot more feasible. I mean, that's an hour and a half down the road for me to pack up and get down to kind of thing. Those would be, like you say, I mean, if you could pick and choose the right ones to get to, Tinley would absolutely be on the list. That would be a blast. I actually just want to, I'm going to try and figure out how to go next. I just want to go to the next one. So
same. I'd really like to just go.
Yeah. I've kind of driven the conversation tonight. What do you want to talk about? What's on your plate or what's on your agenda for the show for tonight?
Nothing specific. I mean, I'm just enjoying the conversation, but I guess I have a question for you.
Sure.
What is, I would say, your favorite project that you're working on, and like a goal that you're working towards? Because I have several little projects here and there that I'm working on with, like, morphs and genes, but I'm curious what you're really hoping to achieve in the future.
Thank you. And one of my I recently made a video on my clown project, which I'm probably the most excited about right now. But I also said in that video, it wasn't necessarily what I'm set out to be most passionate about, or may not be most passionate about even tomorrow or the next one. It's what I have the most action in right now, and what I have the most resources in. So I have the most animals with of breeding age with the clown recessive gene in them. And for those that don't know, I think most people do, but you might not from not or not focusing so much on ball pythons. But the clown's this really cool gene. First, it does a very cool thing on the headstock. It kind of eliminates the eye stripes, so it looks like this clean color pattern goes over their face. And then the pattern almost does get almost cartoonish, which can have a really neat effect, and it allows some of the colors to really brighten up and have wider, longer, clean splotches of. So you were talking about, you look for like stripes all the way down to the tail. The clown gives these broad sides where you can have these long, clear splotches of color that you wouldn't find in a normal morph of a ball python. So I'm really excited about clown at the moment, but it's because it's what's coming the soonest. I think in the long run, I'm most excited about seeing what recessives I can put into double recessives, or even look at triple. I don't know why I have this obsession with working towards these recessive genes. So they're more of a challenge. They're a longer project. They do command more money for both of those reasons. So I like them from a financial standpoint as well. I don't know. Maybe it's luck. Maybe it's personal bias. But like a lot of the recessive, now there's a bunch of recessives that I do find boring, but a lot of the recessives are incredibly cool, like an axanthic black and white snake. I mean, that is just cool. The pied ball pythons, the Dalmatians of the ball python world, they're incredible visually to me. There's another recessive I'm working with, lavender. It's a form of an albino gene, but as you can tell by its name, instead of the white background, it has this lavender purple, and that does amazing things. And Candy is another one that I'm working with. So to circle back to your question, right now, right here, clown, in the long run, I don't know, all the above. I want to make a snow like we were talking about. I want to check out a candy snow, a candy albino to an axanthic would be killer. Lavender and the clown, they call that a grail, would be great. And again, I swear I'm not BSing you here. Circling back to that female Letty that I bought from you, bananas and clowns look amazing. And then moving a dominant gene like Enchi into banana and Enchi into some of the albinos that really brings out the oranges and pinks, and then moving that into the banana and moving that into clown. I don't see an end in sight where I'm not going to be excited, even if I didn't buy any more snakes and just produce my own stock. I'm not patient enough for that. I've discovered. I told myself a week or two ago I was done buying for a while, and here I am on Friday with another male pied breeder coming in. But those are the things that I'm excited about right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's really what's important, is just being excited about what you're doing and having fun with it. Because if you're only in it for money, you're not going to be successful. But if you're excited about it and enjoying it, then like you're going to do great.
Yeah. And I think, you have a really good point. I was talking to somebody that's not into ball pythons and not into YouTube. And I was just telling them about it. And they're like, man, that seems like a lot of work. And I'm like, yeah, it is a lot of work. I treat it like it's work. I have a great time doing it, but I do treat it like it's work, and it is work. So yeah, I was like, yeah, it is a lot of work, and I enjoy it for it. But I agree with you. If you think it's just I'll breed some manises and get rich, you might, but it ain't going to be that you just happen to do it because it's easy and anybody could do it. No, it takes the right people to do it. So I agree with you completely on that. And I don't say that to discourage anybody. I just say it as a disclaimer. And that's for anything. I mean, for a while, and I still do time to time, make money repairing and selling guitars, but I make money at it because I love doing it. Like $1 per hour, it ain't great. It's I still may as well strap on my suit and go to work to make money that way.
Yeah, it's just like everyone says, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I mean, that can be said for breeding reptiles. If you love it, it doesn't feel like work at all. I mean, like I'm in this room and my other rooms, I mean, every single night for hours doing something because the animals need the care. And some people might look at that and go, you're crazy. That's so much time out of your day and like so much work. But I mean, I don't view it that way. I think it's fun. I look forward to it every day. I don't really dread it at all. And so, yeah, I mean, I think passion's really important.
Yeah, it is. And I think too, like, just for me, like, don't get me wrong, I love relaxing. One of my favorite, maybe not in the same way, but one of my favorite places to be is in like one of my local pubs, surrounded by friends, and we're just sitting back, enjoying ourselves, not doing, not producing, not working, not anything. But in general, like I rarely watch TV and movies. People will talk about movies and I'm like, no, I haven't seen that. I don't know what we're talking about here. And like a room full of snakes is always going to be way more exciting to me than a 2-hour movie that I sit still for. Of course, there's a few, and I'm not just totally like removed from social life or current pop entertainment and that kind of thing or music, but I love, like, it just sounds boring to me. Oh, I'm going to sit on the couch and watch 3 TV shows and then I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
That's a dumb night. Like, all right, I'm going to go figure out how I'm going to breed the coolest snakes I've ever seen. I'm going to hang out on a live stream with an audience and peers that are way more experienced than me that I can learn from and hang out. And afterwards, I'm probably going to drink a beer and I leave my snakes alone at night unless I'm feeding them. So I'll go relax after, maybe for an hour, and then go to bed, but we only got so many days on this planet. So for me, that's what drives me.
Yep. I'm the same way. I don't spend too much time doing something that's like what other people would call relaxing. I'm just in here. I think that's relaxing,
Right.
I enjoy
yeah,
it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, like yeah, this is cool for me. So I picked up along the way that either you take on more species or more projects, or you evolve through and you gain some new ones and leave others. So what's on your horizon? What new species, what new projects, what's next that you kind of get a twinkle in your eye when you see or when you think about it?
Honestly, nothing. I'm pretty content where we are. The
Capped out right
mantises
now.
the mantises is really just the newest thing, and it's mostly my husband's thing. Like I help, but like he's doing all the cleaning and feeding and caring for them. I do the social media side of things. So when we do have babies, I'll help sell them. But
Okay.
I don't really see myself getting into anything in the near future other than just working on the projects that I already currently have. I mean, I'm really just going for certain colors with the leopard geckos and the Rankins, and I don't think I'll keep going too far with crested geckos. That's really just for fun. And then the frogs are also kind of for fun, but I'm hoping I can breed mine in a few months. It's getting cold now, so I can winter them for a few weeks. But I mean, I'm pretty happy with where I am. I'm just going to keep going with the projects I have and hopefully eventually achieve the goals that I have in mind, or not. It's okay if not. Some things don't work.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with, I hate the word failure because we throw it around like it's a binary win or loss. And to me, those are the people, I shouldn't put it that way. Those arguments get made in an unfair way. Like, oh, you see all the time you wasted or the energy you wasted. And I'm like, no, I had an amazing experience along the way. I learned a whole lot. And now I know if I could do it or not. It's not a win or a lose. It's not this binary thing. There's a spectrum of success or failure or whatever, And so, yeah, go for it. I hope it goes well. And so the frogs, have you bred them before, or those are pets at the moment, or a future project at the moment?
Technically, I haven't bred them before, but I have raised them from tadpole point.
Gotcha.
I got some from another breeder friend, but I've been growing mine up so that I do it myself. I understand how to do it. I've just been waiting for the point where I can, and it's really kind of just for fun. They're gonna lay hundreds of eggs, and I cannot raise that many frogs, so I'm gonna probably end up sending the tadpoles out to other people in the world, because like I'm not raising 800 frogs. I'll keep like 50. But
that's a really good point. I hadn't thought of like great, hey, I'm into breeding. Yeah, what are you gonna do with, like you say, 800 frogs? Oh, yeah.
Yep, they're gonna go to other people because I'm not doing that.
Yeah, something Kai and I talked about a while back, early on one of the shows, was that learning how to scale up. Like it's not necessarily the smartest thing ever to just go out and buy a whole bunch of stock that you can start breeding, because then suddenly one day if you don't know how you're going to take care of 100 babies, no matter what it is, that's 100 babies. And if you need 100 housings and 100 spaces for those housings, and you got to feed 100 mouths and clean 100 poos worth of poo, which is definitely there. You gotta, there's value in stepping up along the way. And that's just magnified with a frog. I couldn't imagine, actually. Yeah, there's hundreds of eggs, huh?
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. You should never jump so deep into something. I mean, you get practice and know what you're doing before you get into a larger scale. Like, I guess I would say I'm a sort of larger scale than most people, but I'm not like super big into it. I don't think I could handle like more than what I have this year unless I had some help. I mean, I had over 100 different babies this year with different species, and I handled it, but like I don't think I would want too much more than that. So you got to know your limits and what you can handle, and also know how you should handle it, because I think there's a lot of people out there who aren't doing what they should be to have or to raise good quality and healthy animals. So
yeah, and it's a thin line. Well, and I see it whether it's reptiles, I see it with dogs. I mean, I live in this suburban area that is, it's kind of an up and coming part of not up and coming. It's it's suburbia. It's fine. But there was somebody in like an Escalade Cadillac, like clearly had money, were doing fine, selling like Weimaraners on the side of the road, out of the back of their SUV. And I'm like, there's nothing good about what's going on here. You're not vetting the buyers. Even if you're the best breeder and the best caregiver, you're not vetting who, and like push you on the side of the road and you're in an Escalade. Clearly you have resources to do this a little bit better. Like maybe again, there's a spectrum of what's proper and improper, but that ain't at the right end of it, and I try not to be too judgmental of what's around me, because I'm sure there's somebody that would come into my facility and go, you shouldn't be doing this and that. But yeah, it took a lot. I'm staring at it right now. I physically built a new room in my garage to raise snakes. Like that's a huge commitment. And I know most of us watching this right now are like, hell yeah, that's what we do. Well, it's not what most people do though. That's not a normal thing,
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. I mean, you should definitely have resources to handle stuff before you scale up. I mean, also, if you start small, kind of like what you did with 2 females, the money you get from selling their babies can then go back into your project, and it just gets a little bit bigger every year until you reach where you want to go. I mean, that's how I did it. I started with just a couple breeding pairs, because I've been doing it for 4-ish years with leopard geckos.
Okay.
And I feel like this year I finally hit, like I'm getting really close to where I wanted to be with the quality of my animals. I mean, I didn't start with the best animals out there, but I earned them through, lower end stuff.
Well, and really, like day by day, 4 years is a very long time in the span of careers, businesses, lifetimes, growth, that kind of thing. It's not nothing, but on the other hand, in the grand scheme of things, that's a great amount of time to be able to invest and say, hey, now I have something incredible to show for it. And that's something I'm saying that out loud as much because I need to hear it for myself, because I am not a patient person. I always say that ball pythons make you patient because you have no choice but to be patient with them.
Oh.
So I'm working on that. I'm trying. So I had to tell myself that a lot of times too. And I actually, I know it's goofy and this is a safe place to say it, but I really take joy in just thinking about, hey, what's 3 years from now going to be like? Like I'm this fulfilled now. How fulfilled am I going to be in 3 years, in 5 years? My son is 9. When he starts to get some sense of responsibility or accountability, and maybe he'll get excited by the time we got 10 years before he graduates even high school. What amazing times are we going to have together as he's growing up and getting more excited in this stuff? So I think about that stuff, and I know it's cheesy, but I do. It's me. So I'm glad to hear that you're on that. So I didn't ask you, and we're getting to the point where we'll wrap up. I know your throat's not well, and I always say this time of night I got to give my wife a kiss goodnight before she goes to sleep. But I didn't ask you, what's kind of the beginning story? What was how did it all start? What was the moment for you?
With the leopard geckos or with dating in general?
Just in general, how did you become the woman with a house that you keep at various temperatures to make sure your reptiles are happy and you live in the same place that they do?
Oh Lord. So I mean, I'll try and not make it super long. I've been into animals since I was little.
You're gonna lose
What's
me.
that?
Keep going. You're gonna lose my camera for a minute. Keep going. I'll be right here. I'm back. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I've been into animals since I was little. I know I look like I'm 60. I'm not, for anyone wondering. I'm almost 24. But I have been into animals since I was little, and my parents always gave me the freedom to have animals. They didn't like stop me from wanting to have a frog or a lizard, which I'm really appreciative nowadays because that's what got me into this.
Right.
I started with fish, actually. Sorry, there's like a fly flying around. I started with fish, and I like bred different types of fish. And
Which
for those
one?
that know me personally, was that?
What kind of fish? That's what I started on recently. Well, not recently. The past 6-7 years were fish as well. What'd you start on?
I did angelfish, guppies. I mean, guppies were probably the first thing I started with. That's what everyone starts with. Angelfish, different types of cichlids.
Yep.
Most recent fish that I did, which was about 2 years ago, was discus. Because for anyone who knows me, I worked at an aquarium store before I started teaching art. And I was the freshwater manager there for a couple of years. I hate it, but I was good at it. So I don't really do fish anymore, but I got into the axolotls when I was in high school. And I started raising them from eggs. And then I kept a bunch, and then I brought them myself, and I did it for like probably 4 years. And then everybody started doing it, and it got crazy. So it wasn't really worth my time to do it anymore because it was just so much work, and everyone was doing it, and it was just a lot. And so my husband wanted a leopard gecko, and then I wanted a leopard gecko, and then I got another one, and I just kept getting them over the course of 4 years. And now I am where I am. I always wanted frogs. I finally got my frogs about 2 years ago. I'm like a big frog lover. I would say that's my favorite animal. And then I have random things in this room here and there that are just pets. Like I have a Russian tortoise. I've got salamander.
Okay.
I do have some koi out. I have dogs, cats. I mean, I have a lot of stuff. But, my husband and I are just big animal lovers. But, yeah, it all started when I was little, I guess. And my parents didn't stop me.
Nice. Well, I want to tell you thank you. I want to tell everybody, please check out Kara's K&C. It's the ampersand, the symbol for and in between the K and the C. Geckos, definitely on Instagram, Facebook. And I highly encourage you, if you're considering any geckos in the future, to check out her Morph Market page. You can see the care that she puts into her animals and the passion in it. So, Kara, I appreciate you being here. I hope that our paths cross in the future. And I keep telling myself maybe I need a leopard gecko. So when I'm ready to do it right and I have the resources to do it right, I'm going to come see you and pick up a gecko from you. Real quick on next week's episode, we have a gentleman named Paul from New Forest Morphs in the UK. This guy is going to get up at either 2 or 3 in the morning to join the show next week. New Forest Morphs is the name of the channel. So go check him out. He's really, really close to being monetized as well. So he's doing some cool stuff over in the UK. I don't know where New Forest is. I got to brush up on my geography. I'm just now getting caught up on what's going on in the Premier League so I could talk about soccer with him and not sound like just a typical American ignoramus about such things. If you're into long deep dive videos, I think like daily he's putting out like a 30-minute video. Like it's the work he's putting in is really cool. So anyhow, December 7th, sorry, this is my calendar over here. Yeah, December 7th, New Forest Morphs with Paul, 8 o'clock Eastern, wherever in the world that time is for you. It's 8 o'clock Eastern, and we'll do it every time on this channel. Kara, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you sometime. I'll keep up with you on Instagram, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Keep getting better. Keep feeling better. I'll see you soon, okay?
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, I got to hit the music. There we go. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.